everybody. Welcome to another collaboration between Trust Engine and Mortgage Coach and First Home IQ. This is a collaboration with Phil Jones, Kristen Messerly, and I. Kristen is the executive director of First Home IQ. We're going to interview Phil M. Jones, the author of Exactly What to Say, who, by the way, guys, if you haven't listened to my other interviews, you don't know who he is, we'll put links down below, but he's got one of the most well-read book by realtors and mortgage professionals. How many people have bought this book, Phil? Like 3 million?
Just shy of 3 million.
Just shy of 3 million people. There is a version for realtors. And given the news around NAR, realtors need your love. They need your empathy, they need your leadership, and they need to know exactly what to say. We'll do that another time, Phil, where maybe we do exactly what loan officers should be saying to realtors and exactly what realtors should be saying to buyers. So I don't know if you're game for that, but that would be fun to do.
Oh, I'm very game for that. So much about this NAR stuff right now. And from an LO's point of view, like, it's not your fault, but it is your problem, right? Is this issue of what can happen with those commissions and how can this be funded for unique buyers? Like, this is a mess that everybody's in some way, and helping people navigate on from here is everybody's responsibility.
Exactly. And a couple things that I know, because I've interviewed the #1 realtor in America. I've interviewed a number of the top realtors. Those are on our YouTube channel. They're like skyrocketing. Like, literally, an interview that we posted yesterday has over 5,000 views today with Jason Mitchell.
Yep.
So I have a sense of what realtors need to do and loan officers need to do in this post-NAR comp reform. And two things I know for sure: they need to be advisors, coaches. So their advice and their coaching advice matters more than ever. So advice revolution, game on. And I also know they need to be community leaders. Like, they need to be looked upon as someone that is helping their community and is a well-known, well-respected community leader. And First Home IQ is a great strategy for real estate and mortgage professionals to take on, because I think it's fairly common knowledge in America that there is a financial literacy crisis. Like, I haven't had anybody debate me on that. I think it's fairly well known.
That's undeniable, right?
It's undeniable that there is an affordability crisis in America. I've never had anybody debate that. And every time we've told someone the story of how, hey, we're turning loan officers and realtors into the first responders of this affordability and financial literacy crisis, they're like, hell yeah, game on. I'm in. But exactly what a First Home IQ ambassador should say to their database when they call, exactly what a first-time home buyer should say to a realtor, exactly what to say to a teacher or someone at a college to get out there. Like, they don't know what to do. So Phil's going to help crack that. Kristen, first of all, say hi to everyone, and then anything you want to say before we just start the two of us asking questions of Phil.
Just to, set the stage, I'm so excited about this. We get constantly ambassadors talking about, what would I exactly say about to a realtor about First Home IQ, and they want to be active in sharing this mission, but a lot of times it's difficult, and I want to, empower them with scripts and things that they can use. So, a couple of the categories that we're looking at are, one, as Dave was talking about, how do loan officer ambassadors talk to real estate agent or potential ambassadors or partners about, hey, like, we've had multiple ambassadors just call up new realtors and say, hey, we're part of this, or I'm part of this new nonprofit and would love for you to share some of this with you. And that's been super successful, but it's just the tip of the iceberg, and then sending out an email to their database. There's a whole category there of past customers, telling them about their involvement with First Home IQ and building trust through sharing that with them, their First Home IQ quiz. Because just Phil, so that you're caught up to speed, when an ambassador sends out that quiz and someone takes a quiz through their link, they get emailed their name, email, and results. So, if they send this out to their kids or, their friends, whatever, that's a great connection. And then the last category I wanted to touch on is how we connect with, how ambassadors set up presentations and connections with schools, because we have a whole curriculum and presentation materials and all of that that ambassadors are using to get out in their community. But sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, and I have some scripting I put together, but it's not, super, I don't know. I
It's
think
not
there's a
Phil
lot
Jones
of
content. It's not
not
Phil
Phil
Jones
Jones
content.
content. Yeah. So just
This is fun.
setting the stage for that.
Okay.
So Phil, do you think for you, we've got a list of scripts and questions. Should we start with realtors? Should we start with the consumer themselves? Or should we start with the schools and the
You tell me
outreach
where you want to start, and that's where we'll start. Let's start with something we can make quick progress on.
Well, here's what I'm gonna pick. Because we're telling the industry, like, this is not only helping from a purpose, but from a purpose of profits. There's no doubt if a mortgage professional can recruit more realtors, be more valuable to realtors, collaborate with realtors, that's like obvious profits and purpose. So let's start with realtors.
Right.
How should a mortgage professional call a realtor and, tell them what they're doing and inspire them and do profits and purpose with them?
Okay. Well, what you're going to find from me here is I'm going to pepper you guys with some questions to help understand this concept.
Hit Kristen, pepper Kristen, like, let me off the hook here.
And Kristen, answer this for me as well. Is like, what do you want the realtor to do as a result of the interaction with the loan officer that is a ambassador for First Home IQ? What do you want the realtor to go and do?
This is a great question. One, I think we want them to have a conversation. There's a few different outcomes that we could have separate, directions on, but one is just having a conversation. Let's talk about this nonprofit that they're working on and see if they can collaborate or give more information.
That is what you want them to do. That's one of the ways that you might be able to get them to do what you want them to do. So what do you want the realtor to do, having accepted this conversation?
I guess that's a good question.
Well, let me jump in. So one,
yeah,
I want the realtor to start, sharing the quiz, that's the tip of the spear, and, talking about it in their neighborhoods. I want them, we've had realtors that are like, hey, I'm already doing door knocking and geo farming. I'm going to start telling all my families, with kids and grandkids, hey, here's a resource. I want them to want to go to a school with me and do some training and collaborate. I want them to shout from the highest roof, like they become a local community leader around this. Kristen, anything else?
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay.
There you go. There's a start for you.
So if we're looking at this, how do you twist this into something that is valuable towards the realtor being able to go and do? And you think about one of the puzzles that many real estate agents have right now is a challenge they have is they know they're supposed to be checking in with their past clients. They know that they should be keeping physical presence with the clients they've worked with in the past or the contacts they've worked with in the past, and they have nothing to talk to them about. So what they do is they call and just check in, and if there's anything I can do to help, I'm always here for you. And they have a pattern interrupt conversation that delivers no value to the consumers. Instead, if they've got access to the quiz and First Home IQ, is now what they've got is a reason for them to be able to meaningfully connect with any of their existing past clients. So I'd be approaching the conversation from a First Home IQ ambassador to a realtor partner point of view that would say something like, hey, quick question. And I'd probably do this as a text message, not even as a phone call. Hey, quick question. How many clients, approximately how many families, not clients, have you been in contact with about buying or selling a home over the last 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever timeline that you want to bid upon it? They're probably going to respond with a version of, I don't know, but a good number. And you're going to say, is it more than 50? And they say, heck yeah. You see where we're now at?
Yeah, asking a question is easy to ask and easy to answer.
That's it. We then say, how important is it for you to have something meaningful to go back to those people with to be able to demonstrate your value? They say, yeah, it's pretty important. You say, would it help if you had something of value that you could go back to them with that cost you nothing and cost them nothing, but demonstrated more of your value and caring about the home buying process? They say, yeah, what have you got in mind? You say, when would be a good time for us to have a conversation to talk about it properly? Now we're not cold calling a realtor to sneak attack them to try and explain to them what First Home IQ is. What we're saying is we've got a great idea and a fantastic tool that could be of value to your database that's going to help you have meaningful connections and conversations with those customers. Oh, and the only byproduct is we help raise the awareness of the home buying process for people who are currently illiterate, which is no downside at all.
Yeah.
The alternative would be is that you write a script that says, what do you know about First Home IQ? And they say, not very much. You say, well, what First Home IQ is a non-profit organization that is doing blank and blank and blank and blank that could do this and this and this and this for you and for your business, etc. And it feels like a sales pitch. Instead, it has to be packaged as what value it can bring to them.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why reaching out with First Home IQ in the past and some of the stories I've heard has been successful is because they're not starting with like a sales pitch of some sort. They're saying, hey, I'm part of this new nonprofit. It's having this impact. Would you like to, like collaborate on that or learn more about it? But that does still sound like a sales pitch. So, it's interesting to hear that perspective of like, you're not coming at them with this, even though this was actually a way to have a conversation with someone that otherwise wasn't going to talk to you, And
this always needs to be repositioned by what's the timing and temperature of how a market is at this period of time. Go back 6 months and real estate professionals may have had more time to explore the possibilities of what could be going on. But with everything else that's being disruptive in their marketplace at this moment in time, this is like, show me how this is going to help me today. If this can't help me today, then I'll get to it tomorrow. Whereas if we want their attention, we've got to show them. And this is the same for LOs, right? LOs want to be able to show to their real estate partners, like, I got something that can help you today. And isn't it better that they're showing up with First Home IQ to their past customers than, hey, let me talk to you about the NAR settlement and what that means for you and your house? And because they get the chance to be able to control the narrative with their past clients about everything that's really going on right now, but through the lens of a continued commitment about purchasing homes is a good idea, and that young people and other folks should have a greater awareness of financial literacy. And it's a little of a Trojan horse, but it's a kind, well-mannered Trojan horse that everybody can ride together.
What are your thoughts right now? Because especially in the thought of this NAR news, it's going to be more important that, buyers agents are, they have the job of a listing agent now. They need to give a presentation of value. They need to negotiate their comp as a buyer's agent, and they need to get a contract signed. And so I really think, what are your thoughts of bringing this into the mix on that, and using that as part of the hook right now? And then this is something that every time someone hears about it, it just creates goodwill. Like, it turns agents into the good guys. Like, I'm really helping the local community. Any advice or thoughts on that?
Plenty. I think for sure there's a lead generation aspect to this as well from a buyer's agent's point of view, is to show up into the communities, to showcase the fact they care about the home buying process, to educate their local communities through the tools that exist and the quizzes that are made available for them. They haven't had to create themselves. It's not them needing to create a 7 steps to buying success, or here's how any first-time home buyer. Like, these are elegant, professional, well-packaged tools that genuinely educate with credibility. The third-party credibility is fantastic to buyers agents, and it gives them the chance to be able to show up in an educational capacity in their local communities and be of service. And there's a big difference to offering value and being valuable. And this is a miss for many, is this has the potential to be highly valuable to communities only if the agent puts themselves in their community and shares the value. If they keep it a secret and hold it back and say, I could deploy this value when you give me permission to, it's not very valuable. It's no different to somebody saying to you when you're going through a time of distress, look, if there's anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. Like, it's not helpful when you're going through a turbulent time. Whereas what today's marketplaces are asking for is like, teach me the truth, help me understand what's really going on. And buyers agents could be using FirstHomeIQ to educate from the ground up what's involved in the home buying process, and the byproduct of which is people would be seeing more value of the agent and more value of the loan officer, but without putting the spotlight on that, just through knowledge and education.
Mm-hmm.
What about the thoughts, and I don't know if there's a nuance to this, but clearly with this NAR reform, the biggest concern is the first-time home buyer. And so is there any nuance? I mean, obviously that just kind of makes this even more on point, because this is something that, while the target demographic that the content's created for is Gen Z, it's just as valuable for a millennial. It's just as valuable for anyone at any age who's renting and not owning. Like, is there anything with that in mind? Is there any considerations that you would put in the scripting?
Meet the honesty of the brand, right? Is, if I'm an agent of any description right now, is I'd be looking to utilize these tools to help more people have their first time IQ. And look, like, even a first home IQ ambassador should be going to social media right now and using opening fact question in their social posts and saying, with all the noise that's happening in the marketplace right now with interest rates and lawsuits and this and this and this, I know there are hundreds of people questioning whether now's the right time for them to be able to purchase, what would be involved in them to be able to purchase or to move from their rented property. And the question about first home ownership is a more challenging question to answer than ever. To help you and people like you navigate decisions like this, why not take the quiz on First Home IQ?
That's a perfect script.
Tristan, I think
in the community.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got so much gold from that. And I would remind everybody, many of you, most First Home IQ Ambassador are mortgage coaches. So, really make sure you're armed with these scripts. I guarantee your realtors don't realize the rent versus own analysis that you can do, which is going to be a really new important part of their buyer presentation. They probably aren't aware of your move up, or not your move up, but your should you buy now or should you wait analysis. So, coming with these new tools, these new features could really be valuable for anyone listening to this.
Well, and you mentioned at the top of our call today, and I don't know whether it was when we were recording or not, but the importance of mortgage professionals, real estate professionals, to take the role seriously of being advisors, coaches, guides towards the chaos in the marketplace right now. I think it's 100% correct. Only remember that being an advisor, a coach, a consultant, or a guide is not being an expert with all the answers. It's the ability to create a vehicle that allows some of these bigger conversations to be able to be had. And what I love about what you have here with First Home IQ is it can just flirt an idea that starts a conversation. And that means with any of the conversations that realtors, loan originators are looking to be able to utilize or start with First Home IQ, is note that that's what you're trying to do. Start a conversation, not start, middle, and end a conversation. And that's, I think, some of the mistake that can happen when you look at elongating scripting too much, that explains what it is, why it's so important, what needs to happen next, etc. It ends up overselling something that was only intended to create a curiosity gap and arm somebody with early information that could then have them entering into an expert-based conversation with enough education to be at that point in conversation. So it's like, let's not try to oversell it. And that would be my message towards more ambassadors right now, is flirt the value of First Home IQ. Don't try and sell the value of it. Position it out there with a giant curiosity gap. And if people are wondering what a curiosity gap is, it's the reason why you decide you're only going to watch one episode of a show on Netflix, and then 7 episodes later realize that you probably should get some sleep. It's because the writers knew how to create a curiosity gap in the script to be able to keep you coming back for more and more and more. And it's the same reason why you find yourself 12 seconds into a video on social media that you know you shouldn't be watching, that is going to deliver zero value to you. And then you find yourself still watching that same video 23 seconds later, and 42 seconds of video into that video, you are now desperately needing to understand how many elastic bands does it take to burst a watermelon. Like you now need to know the answer to this curiosity gap piece. And I think the tools you've created within First Home IQ are tools that start to create, fill, and explore a curiosity gap, both between real estate agents and their customer base, customers and their kids, kids and their spouses, and like it just provides almost the third leg in a three-legged stool to allow us to be able to have some of the conversations that otherwise aren't happening or are happening with too much fast judgment. It's a gift.
Well, you just delivered a master class, and for all you First Home IQ ambassadors, put questions down below wherever you're watching this video. And Phil loves what we're doing. He wants to see the financial literacy gap closed in America, and he's here as a friend. So we'll ask more questions. So let's go to the next chapter, because I want to hear it. And then Kristen, maybe on the last chapter, how to get schools, how to actually, how to call a school. But, we want both mortgage professionals and real estate professionals to make this part of their, their database value, that, hey, I'm an ambassador. And at the end of the day, we want we want to have over 100,000 people take the quiz this year. So that is kind of the tip of the spear, where, take this quiz, share this quiz with your kids, share this quiz with anyone and everyone that could get value. We're seeing a lot of mortgage professionals and real estate professionals make this part of their kind of consultation. So if it's a loan officer, they're a first-time home buyer, they're making it part of, hey, take this quiz before we talk. And if it's a realtor, here's, I want to know what your First Home IQ is. Take this quiz. Right. So think of, from a borrower perspective, integrating it into your sales process, integrating it into your database practices. What are your thoughts?
This is an accelerated word of mouth viral share if it's not oversold. And in your mind, where is the sweetest spot of an individual to be completing this test? How old are they? What are they doing in their life at this moment in time?
I think actually it would be someone that is thinking about buying their first home. So probably between, like, we designed most of our content for the 16 to 25-year-old, but I think the quiz actually is being taken mostly by a 25 to 40-year-old. Dave, what do you think? I can look at the data, but I don't have it in front of me.
Well, I mean, I do think either one, they were told to take it by their parents, and so they took it because the person who told them to take it, told them in the right way. And then in terms of the natural aptitude, it's someone that's interested in buying their first home. And that could be probably not a lot of 16-year-olds, but, probably in the early 20s is probably the avatar, the target. But hey, someone in their 40s that doesn't own and wants to see where they stand and see what they don't know. Is that helpful, Phil?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a targeting piece, first of all, is the game I'd play from here is every rental building in every major city is full of these people, and realtors are looking to be able to build relationships with those. And what most of the landlords of those buildings are wanting is movement in and out. Right? They're looking for movement in and out of those buildings. And they have direct relationships with everybody that's in that building. I'd be working towards both those, and then also colleges rather than high schools for the students that are in living accommodation or shared accommodation in and around the school units. And I'd be making those the conversations that I'm looking for.
Yeah, but I also think, whether even a parent or a grandparent, anyone that has kids in those ages is going to want their kids to take this test.
But what we're looking at, Dave, is it's like if I was playing the game of darts, right? If I'm playing the game of darts, I might want maximum score with my first dart, and maximum score is triple 20, 60 points. Now, how often do I hit that? Not very much, but that might be what I aim at. And if I'm aiming at trying to get conversations with colleges locally to be able to educate kids, and I'm aiming at looking to have conversations with leadership inside rental buildings within my community, people are going to say things like, I don't have access to a college group, but my brother works at the local youth center that does blank, that looks after the under 18 lacrosse team, and they probably should take this. And you're shooting at the rental building, and they're like, well, I don't have a rental building, but there's a friend that I know that has 37 rental units that are often stepping stone first house rentals that maybe could create some access. And I'd be looking at this leverage wise and shoot with, where is there the greatest volume of the people that could get the biggest benefit from this, and know that I'm going to keep missing. And all the time I keep missing, I keep adding to my score. But it allows you to be able to say that your approach in these areas is one of three different ways. If you're looking at open doors that are difficult to open, there are three keys that will open any door. One is a compliment, two is recognition, and three is the request of an opinion. These three things will open doors. Say, for example, that I was looking to win the attention of a rental building. I would look to be able to say that I'm running a research paper right now for the local real estate industry and looking to get some insights as to how long people stay in a rental building and what people look for in an amenity building as opposed to a private rental, and how long they stay for before they move on to next. And I wondered if I could interview you for your input and your opinion. I'd get 20 minutes of FaceTime with somebody that is in that rental building, and I'd say, oh, by the way, did you know that I'm a FirstHomeIQ ambassador? And we have this cool little test that might be interesting for you to invite your tenants to be able to take, and it perhaps could give you some insights more about what people are thinking that they might want to be able to go on and do next. So you understand where you might have potential voids, what you might need to market for, and how you can be more creative with making sure you maximize occupancy rates. They'd be like, that's cool. And you're like, funny how that happened. And same with the university point of view is, as a mortgage professional or as a real estate agent, is that you're speaking to folks that are involved in the extracurricular support, advice, and guidance and counsel of the students. And I think, like, I'm an adjunct professor at High Point University in North Carolina. I'm part of the Access to Innovators program, and they're a premier life skills university. They care about how their students can navigate life after college, and there would be routes there that their students would be like, yes, we'd love to learn more about the home buying process and what's involved in that. And your questions in those environments is, who is the best person to speak to about educating people around blank, right? Who do you know at ABC College that could help open doors for us to educate students about blank? It's not, I'm part of this FirstHomeIQ, it's done blank, 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 and blank, blank, and you should love it as much as we do. It's find the people. And when you find the people, ask the people to confirm whether they have the problem. And when they confirm they have the problem, then present them with, here's a possible solution. And they're like, you're awesome. But instead, if you show up with a solution without having found the people and the problem, they're like, that's weird.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. So what if you were going to either, call your database and just be talking to clients, and or, you're just starting to socialize the cocktail.
Here's where you do
dinner with people, and I'm an ambassador and I want to engage. How do they sequence and give us a role play, whether it's calling a database or I'm at dinner and I want to have the FirstHomeIQ conversation? How do we do it?
You don't want to have a pitch about this. You want to have a rant. What is a rant? You get frustrated. One of the things that drives me crazy right now is just the number of young people that have got no idea what it's going to take for them to be able to buy their first home. They're spending too much of their money on experiences and frappuccinos and overindulging in other areas, and they just don't have the financial literacy that's required to help them to be able to stand on their own feet into the future. And I worry about what impact that's going to have on the future generations and the future generations after that. See, if I have the RANT, people are like, yeah, you're right. That is a frustrating point. Like, what do we do about it? And you're like, well, that's one of the reasons why, alongside the work that I do as a real estate agent, that I'm connected with this amazing organization called FirstHomeIQ, that have put a lot of the work in just to be able to provide meaningful education to help people have a greater understanding about blank. They're like, that sounds cool. How does that work? I mean, like, there's loads to it right now, but like, when would you maybe have a spare 6 minutes to take a test?
Wow.
They're like, well, not today at this reception. You're like, well, what's the best number for me to text you the link? I'd love to get your opinion on the test and how that might be useful to people that are in your network. And they're like, yeah, okay, I'll text you that. And you're like, well, when would be a good time next week for us to reconnect and find out what your thoughts are on the test and how we might be able to make this problem less of a problem together? But you see how conversational that is. That's not a pitch, but it is predictable. And you're there saying, wow, because you're like, yeah, that would work.
Kristen, what are you thinking? You're getting
So
what you
good.
want to create content and bring leadership and value to the First Home IQ community?
Yeah, what I think is so interesting, I had just pulled up a script that I had put together for ambassadors when they're reaching out to schools. And it's like, this is all going to change completely. Because what I love about all of this is that it's so conversational and it's getting to, like you said, you're addressing their problems. And I mean,
Right.
the whole thing that I had going here was like, I'm with First Home IQ and our mission is blah, and we have this curriculum, and it's like, okay, they may or may not care about that, but in this way, you're engaging them in a conversation that leads them somewhere. So
yeah, and everything
so,
is find the people that you think might care, check if they actually care about the problem that this solves. When they validate that they care about it, ask them their opinion or invite them in to be part of the solution.
mm-hmm.
and
But
so
never oversell it.
I got to jump in 5 minutes, but Kristen's going to keep going with you until you got to jump. But I got to hear it for myself. I want to hear literally a role play that if let's just say college, because to your point, that is kind of the age where they're going to be most likely. But if one of our coaches, because we've got 100 now, we're going to have 1,000 ambassadors. We're going to have Kristen's going to be managing an army of coaches, and both the ambassadors and the coaches are going to be calling colleges and say, hey, we want to, and volunteering to provide training. So once we've identified the right person, because I think you gave us scripting that would help identify the right person, walk us through how Phil Jones would make the call. Ring, ring.
Hi, is this Dave?
Yeah. What's up?
Dave, I understand that you, amongst all your other roles here at the college, are responsible for helping to equip the students with some of the skills that they need post-college, with information around financial literacy and what else might be relevant to them.
Yeah,
yeah, that's me.
Got the right person.
That's me. What plans do you have in place right now to ensure that people are receiving the right level of information? What are you doing for students today to help them in this area?
Yeah, and obviously I would share 2 or 3 things that I'm most excited about right now. So, blah blah,
right,
blah blah.
And how well is that working for you?
Well, you'll be able to get 1 or 2 answers. Hey, we are the best. We got an award, and we're better than our peers. Or
awesome.
I don't have enough resources to do with what I already am doing, and I'm slammed.
Either way is good news,
I
right?
I only got 5 more minutes.
Yep. And if they say like, that's great, like it's going awesome, you say like, that's fantastic. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to connect with you. Now we're bringing compliment, because I know that you're already making massive impact in this area, which is why I thought that we might be able to partner together. And you're like, well, how does that work? Well, how important is it to you that kids are truly equipped with information around things like the home buying process? They're like, it's really important. You're like, yeah, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it? With 10 being it's essential and 1 being it's a cute idea. You're like, yeah, it's a 10. Okay, well, what do you know or what do you understand about the work we do at First Home IQ? They say, not much. You say, well, would it help if I walked you through some of the ways that we're helping young people in professional environments around the nation right now to be able to have a genuine level of understanding and expertise so they can navigate this chapter of their life with confidence and competence? And they're going to be like, yeah, that'd be great. Now, before we get into it, have you taken the First Home IQ test yourself? No, I haven't.
I didn't know there was one.
Ah. Well, I tell you what, before we get too far into this and knowing that you're remarkably busy, why don't I ping you the link for the test? You take the test, see how useful you think would be, and maybe let's reconnect later in the week or early part of next week, find your findings of the test. I'll share some more with you about our bigger long-term mission, and let's see if there's a way that we can take some of the burden off of you when it comes to educating the students as to what's really required to have financial literacy in a modern market and beyond.
So good.
So good.
So good. Well, hey, I'm going to let you and Kristen
sell the appetizer, not the entree. Get them to bite the appetizer and then show them the entree. And then when they like the entree, say, let me show you dessert. But what people try to do is they say, like, I know you don't know how hungry you are 3 weeks on Thursday at 6 p.m., but what would you like for your appetizer? What would you like for your entree? Will you be having dessert? And can I get you a coffee? And you're like, whoa, 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 what time again? Thursday, 3 weeks is too big of a decision. And with First Home IQ as a resource to everybody in this process, it's not one and done. This is a tool that can be integrated to be a minor part of their daily existence for the rest of ever, that can deliver appreciating value inside that relationship over a period of time. And if you want your value to be appreciated, don't force it. Value is only valuable when it is appreciated. If you push too much of what you believe is your value on somebody before they're ready to receive it, it is no longer appreciated. Therefore, it is no longer valuable.
Yeah.
So,
I have one more
hey, real
question
quick,
before we
Kristen,
finish.
because I'm going to let you and Paul rock out this next 15 minutes. I do, as I get ready to leave here, I want to remind everyone, I've interviewed, Phil twice. We'll put links down below. They're extraordinary. He was the moderator for last year's Scriptapalooza. They're absolutely a must. For all you mortgage coaches watching this, make sure you've bought his book. Guys, this is now a great time to buy a case of his book, Exactly What to Say for Realtors, and get out there, show up with empathy, ask questions, follow his process. I will be working to schedule Phil to talk about exactly what to say during this NAR settlement era. And so stay tuned based on Phil's schedule. Could be tomorrow, could be 2 weeks from now, but we'll get that scheduled. And Kristen, I'll let you take it from here. And Phil, I really appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
Dave.
care.
So just a couple minutes left, but I wanted to ask you, so we have a full curriculum of 10-week program that we've implemented in high schools and also works in colleges and that kind of thing. But it starts with basic financial literacy, like money 101, so it's not just the home buying education. But every time I talk to a teacher, they're like, yeah, this is absolutely what I need. I'm totally, worn down and I don't have any education about this. But getting to that person is often very difficult. And I think it's because everyone in the school is probably overworked, so how would you suggest when we're reaching out to a school, that we're having that education, and it's probably going to be, maybe we're getting someone on the phone, but maybe it's an email that where we want to give them this information, let them know we have this available, but also we don't want to get ahead of ourselves like I've been doing.
When people are time poor in their environment and demands get made on their time regularly from external vendors, partners, people offering, then what happens is people build very strong gates around those opportunities and those people that can empower those opportunities. Mm-hmm. So you have a gatekeeper process at the door It doesn't matter how well you craft that message is highly unlikely to get to its desired recipient because of the process that are being built through the fact that you're trying to go through a known to be bolted shut door. If I was looking to get towards teachers, I'd be looking to get the message to teachers when they are not teaching. And I'd look to be able to find an ambassador for the program inside of the school that then shares it with other teachers when they're in there. I'd look to be able to find a teacher who is in plain clothes, not in uniform, not at school, doing something else that's different in each of those different areas, and work on ways to be able to, again, share your rant with them. So that might be leveraging the real estate loan officer partners that you already have right now, and asking them the question is, who do you know in your locality that are influential players in the local education system? School teachers, PTA, et cetera, et cetera. And then what you might look to be able to do is to host a webinar or host an online event in some description and invite your existing ambassador partners to invite their education friends to an education summit seminar that you host, and operate with more efficiency, more scale, and more success by having 12, 15, 20, 30 educators in a room. And you can either do it like you've got the answer, or you can do it like you've got the question. Is what you're looking to be able to do is to get greater insights into what puzzles are really existing within those student communities, in those schooling environments. And if any of your ambassadors have friends, colleagues, past clients, etc., that are attached towards the education system, would they volunteer them to be part of a working group or you're looking for people to not buy this, you're looking for people to care about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually so big. And it would be extremely valuable to have educate. I mean, whenever I have a conversation with a teacher, I'm like, I'm learning so much through that. So that would be awesome. I love that. That's more meaningful, Yeah.
And I would avoid anything in this that feels like it is being sold to people.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's all free for them, for teachers, and for, a lot of the content is free, but we tend to sell, so yeah.
And it ends up with people thinking, where's the catch?
Yeah.
Right. And the catch should be, this mission is worth solving and it's work. And you're looking to align yourself with people who are prepared to put work in to be able to achieve the outcome that's going to take work. You're not asking for them to put money in, you're asking for them to put attention and energy in.
Yeah, definitely.
So it shouldn't be, look what we've done, this is awesome, please plug and play. It's, we don't know what we're doing in the school environment, help.
Yeah.
We care deeply about this problem, and if you care about this problem too, can we perhaps attack this problem together? We'll take a lot of the heavy lifting out of it, but we need your access and your and your impetus.
Yeah. Wow, that's huge. That is going to really change the whole approach around this. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm so surprised how, I mean, I know you're, this is your expertise, but you took such, we just threw some things at you, and you really gave a lot of value to us and to the community, and the impact you're going to have through our organization's shift around this. So appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me here. Always a delight to chat to you, the team, and Dave. And I love what it is that you're doing and care massively. And I was fortunate enough to buy my first home at like 19, 20 years of age, and have been through the home buying process a lot. If I didn't make those decisions early on in my career, I wouldn't have the financial stability that I have today. So I'm very much in line with what it is you're doing, and grateful for the impact that you're having in the world.
That's awesome. Well, great to hear that. And again, thank you so much. Thanks to the community for watching. See ya.